I'll have to double check. All right. Says we're live. Hopefully we're working here.
Let's see if it's working.
Chat's up on the side. I'm gonna double check on my channel. Zero viewers.
Oh man.
Maybe it didn't work. I don't know. What do we got going
Oh
here?
jeepers. I can see it. It's live.
Is it live? We're good.
It
Can you
is.
hear
It's up and
everything?
going.
Is it echoing?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can still hear you.
Check on my channel. Zero viewers.
Oh man.
Oh, it's working. We got people coming in. What's happening, feeshin
Holy
friends?
cow.
Welcome to
Look at
a
that.
surprise live. We got it. This is my first trying this stream deal. Clearly, Randy's off center there, but
Sorry, which way do I go?
it does no my screen deal. It took me like 2 hours to try and get this figured out. So bear with us. I'm gonna try to fine tune it, but we got a special live with the Dizzle on here. Hopefully, you all are gonna have fun. Tonight, just wanted to go live, do some feeshin talk. I got a new bag here from Gills. I figured we'd go through quick. Otherwise, didn't really have a plan. I asked for questions on Instagram, had a bunch of people leave some stuff there, so we're going to go through questions, answer stuff, talk. I'm just excited that we got the Dizzle on. Dizzle, what do you think?
Yeah, this is awesome, man. We've been kind of kicking this around for a while and seeing if it's, something that we could actually manage to get going and, here it is.
It's going. All right. Well,
It's happening.
I'm going to start out with, I got one of these Gills bags. They had a deal going. I don't have the webcam view figured out yet, but picked up one of these Gills bags. I'm going to be doing a review on this. This is actually Dizzle's. He picked one up, but I sent it to my house because I want to do a video on it first. But thanks for sending that here, Dizzle.
Yeah, no, it's
It's
I want to get it out there.
it's
I've been wanting to know what people think of them. I've seen them on Instagram probably, and I just don't know if it's worth it, if it's not worth it. Who knows? We'll
It's
see.
a hefty, meaty bag. Yeah, I'm excited to go through it. His came with like a box of some stuff. I don't know if any of you have it out there. Comment and let us know if you've used the Gills bag. But we got some baits in here with it. I think they called these things the water bugs. I'm excited to kind of give these a try. Almost looked like the Yamamoto flapping hog. Kind of cool. I've
Yeah,
not really seen anything
I
like
thought
this.
those were interesting.
Yeah.
They're not like anything I've really ever seen. I mean, maybe use it as a jig trailer, but who knows? Probably just throw it as is, like Texas rigged or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think a Texas rig would be cool. They give you some hooks. These looks like some pretty generic hooks, but look like they should be all right. Some EWGs. And these cute little frogs. Look at those guys. They're tiny. Look at that.
You showed me those frogs, and I was like,
Little.
it instantly. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of the spider.
Oh, God. The spider. Yeah, I wasn't a fan. I know people are probably angry with me, but I was not a fan of the spider. And tonight the Hawks are playing basketball. I don't know if any of you are sports fans out there, but the Hawks are doing great this year in basketball. I've been a huge Hawk basketball fan since high school. Football plays tomorrow, but I happened to get some Iowa gear over Black Friday. I usually wear a large, but apparently this is large for small larges because I put it on and it was tight. So I ended up having to get an XL and it fit like comfortably. So I don't know what the deal is with this, but I'm going to be giving this away tonight. So sometime tonight we're going to pick a rando winner. One of you random Hawk fans out there, sweet hoodie. I'd have mine on, but it's dirty right now. I wore it the other day. Sweet sweatshirt, I'm going to give that away. It's a large, so stay tuned. We're going to give that away. Otherwise, what do you say we get into it, Dizzle?
Let's hop in. I think I've seen, and sorry if I'm kind of looking like I'm looking away. I have the chat going on my TV. It looks like there's been a couple of questions so far.
Okay, cool. Well,
So yeah, I'm ready.
we're going to start. I added a thing to Instagram earlier. I know I didn't put anything on here. I don't know if we'll get much traffic. It's really just for fun. I don't care how many viewers. Really just to spend some time with all of you and talk. We'll do some more, get some setups to give you guys more of a time before to get ready for it and get a beverage. I'm having a cream soda here. But,
Excuse me.
okay, first question that we got, I figured we could go into. On Instagram, we were asked, how did Dizzle and I meet? And I said we were going to have to do this on a video or something, but I think live with you is going to be best. So
Right.
we ended up meeting '03, I think. '03 is when
Yeah,
when we met.
early 2000s. Yeah.
Yep. I was in college at the time, so that dates me, right? But I was in college. I actually worked with Ray and Dizzle. You ended up starting there after I did, right?
Yeah, I think you had been there maybe maybe a year,
Yeah,
a couple
okay.
months or a year, less than a year.
But it was your regular telemarketing. I was inbound at the time, so I took customer service calls, did some sales stuff. We worked together, and it was a crazy place to work. It was like the Wild Wild West. It's like those sales things that you see on like what is it, Boiler Room. People are standing up throwing balls, talking on their headsets. It was pretty crazy, but it was a ton of fun. So we met there back in early 2000s. Both of us ended up getting into boxing and kickboxing. My coach, Keone at the time, was my boss, and he was one of my mentors as I got into college. Great guy, kind of straightened me up. I was into some racing stuff and doing things I shouldn't have been doing. So at the time, he got me into that. I was still fishing back in college at the time, not a whole lot. So I thank him for getting me into that, getting me into kickboxing, MMA, jiu-jitsu, and then Randy and I trained for a few years together in boxing and such.
Yeah.
So there, and then we ended up I moved on to a different job, or the whole company closed down. So I lost my job. We kind of split ways at that time. You moved to Arizona, right, for a couple of years?
Yeah, it was about a year or so to Chandler. Moved out there, and it was amazing. I mean, winters riding around the mountains on four-wheelers and stuff like that. I'll take that over, sub-zero temps in Iowa, but still, it wasn't really. I'm not the big city kind of guy, and we lived in Chandler. It's a suburb of Phoenix, so it really wasn't for me.
I've gone there for work. Chandler's a cool place.
Hmm.
But we partied together in college, hung out in college. I mean, we've had a ton of pretty fun, crazy memories that we still talk about. But then after that, after Randizzle moved to Arizona, we stayed in touch for a little bit. But you know how it goes. We fall out of touch. And then it wasn't until like 7 years ago when I got back into fishing pretty heavy. I was into MMA for quite some time and hurt my neck really bad. And I made the decision to stop training. At that time, I had my 2 girls. So it just wasn't worth it. And then my old lady ended up showing me a picture of Randizzle with a big old 5-pounder. I think that was the tournament you got second place in, but you won big fish.
Yeah, it was. Well, I didn't get big fish. It was Frosty Rod Open around here in Iowa. We do where there is a tournament, and I want to say it's the first or second week of April. So when they say Frosty Rod Tournament, they literally mean bundle up because it's going to be chilly. There were times where I would have to clean the ice out of the guides because it was building up. But yeah, just I stuck a big one early, and between the two of us, it was a 2-man tournament. Biggest or most 5 fish was it, and biggest fish overall, 2 different prize opportunities, and I stuck this one. I was dragging a little football head actually, which is really uncommon for me.
But still a jig, so not uncommon at all.
Yeah, sure. So dragging this little football head, and it literally felt like, oh man, it's in a rock, it's stuck, and then it started to move, and I just, kind of took it out on the fish and really set the hook on him and reeled it in. And we were both just ecstatic, me and old Johnny. And we get back and we're sitting there and we're like, there's no way we're gonna do anything. We're not gonna win anything, and people kept going in, and nobody had any fish. And then I weighed mine, and it ended up being 486, I believe, at the time of weigh-in, and I caught it early in the day.
The story keeps changing. You told me it was like a 6-pounder.
Oh, whatever. It was like 4. I still
at
have
time
the
of
info.
weigh-in, it was 4.86 though.
God. Yeah, they shrink. Fish stress out and they lose weight. Did you not know that?
Yeah,
Come on,
he
buddy.
shrunk a pound and a half.
So it wasn't a 6. Anyway, so I'm weighing in and everything's going amazing. And, I'm like, I'm going to get big fish and we're going to win this tournament, like hands down. All of a sudden, this dude comes with this hog of a fish. It was probably close to 8 pounds. It was 7 something. But we ended up getting second overall, and I wasn't going to complain.
That's a horse.
Right.
So that was the picture I saw of Dizzle. He's holding up this big fish. It was more like this. So I'm thinking it's like a 10-pounder. Now I learned it's a 4.8. I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, you caught me. I was cheating it. You know what I mean?
So anyway, my old lady shows me this picture. She's like, "Did you know Randy Dizzle? That's been his nickname forever. Did you know he fishes?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't." She's like, "Well, you should hit him up." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "We haven't talked for years. He wouldn't want to fish with me anyway." Ended up, I don't remember what happens. He messages me or I message him. One thing, a message leads to another. We end up getting together fishing, and here you go. We're on a live together 7 years later on the YouTubes. Right? How cool is that?
On the tubes. It's been a wild ride, man.
I know, man. It's been crazy. I can't believe how my channel's done. Insane. Absolutely insane. But I'm looking up on my phone here. I've got some messages and stuff, too, for questions that I said I would answer earlier. We also got some questions on here. This is pretty sweet having my computer. I only went live a couple times from my phone, so it's nice to be able to read this and scroll back. But I did see somebody said they had dibs on. I've seen a bunch of people that I know in here. AZ Scout, how are you, man? It's been a long time since I've talked to you. He's also a lure painter. Hope to be giving some more lures away. Maybe I'll do a Hawkeye lure giveaway, too. We'll give away a sweatshirt and a Hawkeye lure. I'm writing everybody else down. Everybody that's won stuff in giveaways, I'm hoping to get all that out next week. I said this week, but I'm hoping to get that out soon. But I saw dibs. Okay, Evan Sellers. Dibs on first question. What's your go-to method of fishing the Texas rig? Trying to get better at it and would love some tips. Dizzle, what's your go-to method for fishing the Texas rig?
Really, I've started to pin it a lot more with just like a regular bobber stop. I know it's not really a lot of people, at least when I first started, put a leader on with a swivel. This is how, kind of dates me anyway with a Texas rig, but maybe a 1.5 2 foot leader. And now I'm just, pinning it maybe directly next to, kind of who I am, kind of jig style. But, I usually pin it maybe 6 inches up the line and just to give it a little bit of motion. But I really like a craw color, just like a legit orange belly, black brown top, just slow. But a worm too. A worm was like one of my first go-tos Texas rig. Like that was like my to do when it came to fishing. It was like Texas rig, but back in the day I only carried one rod with me. And it was anytime I broke off, I was just so disappointed. It's like time to tie on a swivel, time to, get my leader, time to do this and that, but I think that's where I'm going with that is, still maybe pinned 6 inches or so.
So yeah, what he's talking about is pinning is putting that little bobber weight stop just up above your sinker so it can only move that far. I'm a big fan of not pinning it if I can get away from it because like what he's talking about giving it a little movement is that sinker is going to run down your line. So if I pitch my lure in, the sinker is going to run down and hit the bottom first. After that, my lure is going to be following after it in a more natural motion. Now, the thicker brush I'm around or the thicker grass I'm around, I will pin it, so I'll move that all the way down so the sinker's right on the front of that lure. So when I throw it in wood or anything, it's going straight down altogether. If you don't have it pinned in wood or grass, that sinker can get wrapped in front of the lure or behind the lure, and you're a lot more apt to get snagged. So yeah, Randy's kind of got the best of both worlds, and the nice thing about doing it like he does, and I will do that sometimes, moving it up the line, is it'll look natural when you throw it in, and then if you move to a spot where it's really brushy, you can just move that down, and you've kind of got the best of both worlds. So, of course, in clear water, real clear water, I wouldn't do that probably, but for most of the spots we fish around here, it's kind of dirty stuff. So,
yeah, totally. I mean, that's the best thing about pinning it is you have those two different options. You can, make it as long as you want, as long as the stop doesn't go into your reel. I mean, I guess you could make it that long if you wanted to.
I got one here. Cabal says, hit us with the Dizzle dad joke. Dizzle, you got a good Dizzle dad joke? Here, I'll move on. I'll let you think of one. Scott
yeah,
McNair,
let me
Scott, my guy. Deebo and Dizzle, heck yeah. I appreciate you, brother. You're a good dude. My guy North Fork said it's a nice bag. So he's got the Red Gills bag. He won it. His wife got a tackle bag. Okay, so I'm excited to try that out and do a review. I'm going to do that and compare it to the Tackle Warehouse bag. My Tackle Warehouse bag has been a workhorse, so this one's got quite a lot to live up to.
Right. Oh, hey, real quick, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Do you know why it's called a chicken, or why a chicken coop has 2 doors?
Because if it'd be 4-door, it'd be a chicken sedan.
Man. I really failed on that one. The delivery
I didn't
was
know that.
horrible. I'm on the spot.
You stuttered and you gave me time to think about it. That's like trying to close a sale.
Right. You know,
You stuttered. I
drowning
just
in the
sold
ocean.
you.
Let me throw you the life vest, huh?
Let's see. Debo, can you try a $200 rod so I can see if more expensive rods are worth it? I am going to get into that. I'm going to do a full video on more expensive rods and reels. You know, some of the things you're going to see in rods or reels as you go up. A lot of times there's some better components, lighter weight, lighter materials, oftentimes extra features that don't necessarily make it better, like EVA versus wind grips. Wind grips are a lot more expensive, so you're going to pay more. You might have the same blank and guides, so overall the reel's going to perform the same, but little things like that. So in my opinion, there is a point where you kind of get diminishing returns at a certain dollar point. So I am going to go over all that in depth.
I just want to jump in real quick there, Deebo.
Yeah.
On that
Hop
point.
in whenever you want, man. This is open forum.
I know. I bought. You guys saw me actually break it in half this year, but my St. Croix Avid X, and there's nothing wrong with St. Croix whatsoever. I probably have 7 or 8 St. Croix, but I went up to the Avid X level. I don't even remember how much it was. I want to say probably close to $200, maybe right around that age.
I think, yeah.
Yeah, maybe a little bit over. But when I broke it, I feel like I can't fish it like I want to because I'm maybe a little bit gun shy. That I think like every single time I cast it may break. But versus, God, any of the Abu Garcias that I have, I mean, those are maybe $100, maybe a little bit over. Those things are workhorses.
Yeah, but to be fair, isn't that the one you shut in the truck door, you thought?
But what's that? I think somebody's calling me from outside. Well, I missed that. What did you say?
No, but the thing is, you can never be sure because if you accidentally shut it in something or step on it, he didn't. I'm just joking, but a lot of things that'll happen, when people say a rod broke in the middle. I used it once. I've had rods where I've accidentally stepped on it or I've accidentally hit it on the ceiling and I've hit it hard and I know it and I'm like, ugh, and it might be fine, but as soon as you go out and set the hook on it hard, that's when it's going to snap. So, you can't always, I see that so much, but you can't always just say it's a bad rod. One little thing could have happened and that can mess up the integrity. You got to remember it's a hollow tube. And if you look at like a graphite rod or a carbon fiber rod, when you cut them open, they're almost paper thin. They're extremely thin on the outside wall. So if you damage that wall, you imagine like a paper towel tube, like cardboard tube. If you dent it in, that's exactly what you're looking at for a rod deal. So, but yeah, Randy brings up a good point that warranty though. Warranty is another big thing that you pay for. Like, is yours lifetime?
I want to say at that range, it's lifetime. I know the majority, actually all the St. Croix, regardless of the level or the series, have at least a 1 year.
Yeah.
So it's important you get that little the little tag or flyer, whatever you want to call it, on the actual rod itself. Make sure anytime you buy a rod that you take a look at that, because all of the information was on there. It's super easy. Like I said, I've had a bunch of St. Croix, and when I first started, I actually had a old-fashioned way of filling out a form, putting it in the mail, and sending it in. With this Avid X, I actually just went online, filled out the warranty, everything like that, and yeah, that one is a lifetime guarantee on it.
Yep, yeah, gotta register it. You make sure you use that little card and register it.
Yep, there was a cost, obviously, replace shipping, stuff like that, but so worth it.
Yeah, $50 to replace a rod that broke instead of spending $200 if you didn't. So let's see what else we have. My guy Real Fishing, he said some off-brand stuffs are cheap for a reason. They don't stand up when they compare to other name brands. I bought some cheap frogs from Walmart. They didn't turn out good at all. Absolutely. You don't always get what you pay for. Sometimes there's things that are cheap and they over excel or over, I can't think of the word.
Exceed, yeah.
Yeah. Cotton Cordell Spot, lipless. One of my favorite liplesses. Like what, $2-3? Amazing. Yeah. I love them for just fishing shallow, banging them off rocks and stuff. Yeah, I think you actually got those frogs. It was from Walmart or Dick's or somewhere.
Yeah, Ozark Trail frogs from Walmart.
But I've used other Ozark stuff like the square bills that were great. No problem.
Oh yeah, but these frogs just seemed off. They were really thin. The body was just, It's got a lot of give. I assume that you might have liked them because you like the body to give a lot more, where I'm kind of the opposite, and I like a little bit more of a stout frog. I
But they
know.
didn't float. They didn't float out the package.
Yeah, yeah, they're
Yeah.
really they don't waste your time with them.
Yeah. But it doesn't always mean just because it's cheap doesn't mean it's going to be junk. Just because it's expensive doesn't mean it's always going to be good.
Yep.
Let's see. My buddy Martin Cram, my brother. Go Hawks, go Bulls. Martin, I'm glad to see you on, brother. Steve Miller. Hi guys. Have you ever tried the Halo Rods Black Widow? Actually, tomorrow I got the video uploaded tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to be unboxing 2 Halo rods. Oh gosh, I forget what they are. The one's like $180 and one's like $100. The $100 one I'm really digging. I like both of them, but for $100, that's a good steal. I haven't used that Black Widow one. I did see those are on sale at, I don't know if they already are, Tackle Warehouse for like $107. I think regularly they're like $160. So I took the other 2 out and cast them around the yard. They feel great. I haven't actually got to get to catch a fish or anything with them yet, but so far I love them. What are you snickering at?
I'm just, the idea. It takes me back to when I first, like one of my very first bait casters. It was winter. Des Moines at the state fair. They actually have a yearly fisherman's swap meet. I've been going down there for the last 10 years easily. So I went down there and I found this reel, left-handed reel. I'm a left-handed guy when it comes to bait casters. I know a lot of people aren't. And I was super excited to get it. I get it. I put it on a combo, and I'm like, man, I gotta go cast this thing. I gotta do something with it. And we, again, me and old Johnny, we found this little. It was this little cutback underneath the bridge off of the river, and there's not going to be any fish in this whatsoever. And I'm just casting away. Basically the exact same thing of casting in the backyard, but it just made me snicker thinking of something like that.
Well, that's good timing because the Defiant Clone just said, why is there no smack talk or random 90s references? That was pretty much a 90s reference because I was asleep halfway through it, just like a lot of the 90s. Tim laughed and said, LOL, cream soda. Yeah, Tim, this is cream soda. What do you think? Barley pop? Yes, Dave, barley pop. Let's see. Brandon Labarge said, what's a good bait caster rod? Whoop, whoop, whoop. I don't know where it went. My stuff just moved. Oh, hell, I don't know. Where are we at here? Wow, just saw this. Trevor, what's happening?
Oh, hey, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I know I've talked about or I've commented on a few of your posts and on YouTube videos and Instagram about gloves. So if you want to talk about your gloves, and then I'll bring back up my point once you're done about gloves.
It took me all the way to the bottom. I found out what happened. I don't know why it did that. I don't appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead. Talk about your gloves. I'm trying to find where I was at again.
I'll just fill up some time here for you while you look for comments. So the big thing that I do, and a lot of people have kind of questioned this, but I go to like say Walmart, any auto parts store around you, and they have like a nitrile glove. So it's more or less like a surgical glove. You want to make sure to look for powder free, first of all, but you put that on. It gives you all the dexterity that you need. You can tie up line with them on. You can really do anything with them on. But then you put a really light pair of gloves on over top of them, and you don't have to worry about your fingers getting extra cold in the winter. Even if you live somewhere, where it's not as cold as it is here. They're amazing. I don't know. Debo won't ever trust me about them.
I won't wear them.
And
he's essentially telling you to wear latex gloves, except they don't. I think most of them are nitrile now because of latex allergies. But, like surgical gloves like I wear when I paint lures, he's saying wear those under regular. I don't know. Let's get some comments. Does anybody do that? Sounds crazy to me. I got some of the fish monkey gloves. They're like layering gloves, so they're real, I guess, thin. They fit like kind of skin tight, but they're a good, just like regular cold weather glove. You can flip the finger deal and the thumb deal off, so you can tie knots and everything. So when it's not real cold, I've loved them.
The big thing about that is, though, what if they get wet? If they get wet, your entire hand's going to get cold, right?
Yep.
So with these nitrile gloves, they can get wet, and the cold's not going to go through them. So, I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I bet you this winter, I'll throw on my blue jeans and my hoodie, and I'll meet you out on the hard water.
You'll be in shorts.
And not going to quite go that far.
You'll be in shorts.
I'll throw on my nitro gloves, and I'll throw on those hook gloves that I got this year, and my hands will be just perfectly fine.
All right. Well, we'll test it. We'll test it and see. Tackle Junkie,
we'll
my guy
that.
Tackle Junkie's on. What's up, Jim? If y'all haven't followed Tackle Junkie, make sure you do that. I'll try to link his stuff later. I have to figure out the whole live thing and link him. But Tackle Junkie TJ81, great guy. He supports me. I actually had somebody say Tackle Junkie, Debo, and Bass Geek should form the Old Man Squad. So apparently we're just old guys out there. I love those guys, so I'd be honored to do that. Okay, I found
The crazy thing is I'm way older than you.
Hey, you're in this too. If this ship's sinking, you're sinking with us, oldie.
I'm taking my jigs with me.
Okay, so Alejandro said, of course you would. Debo, can you try out? Okay, I read that one. Some off-brand, yes. Steve, okay, so I'm back. Finally, goodness gracious, sorry. Okay, here we go. Brandon Labarge, what's a good baitcaster rod for beginners? Man, that depends on so many things. What you're going to use it for. If you want a good, like, all-purpose rod, to me, a medium heavy rated for lures up to, like, 3/4 of an ounce is perfect. I like a 7'2". It's my favorite, but you'll have to pick a length that's comfortable to you. I'm 6'1", so to me, that's really comfortable. Randy, what's your favorite all-purpose casting rod?
I would say, as a beginner, I have a plethora of 6'9" rods that I hardly ever use anymore because I feel like they're just a little bit too small.
Why did you have a bunch of 6'9"s?
Because it just felt right at the time, and I think somebody told me that was the good one to use.
And how long ago did you get those, though?
Oh,
that's been a long time ago.
15 plus years,
a
maybe?
long time ago, you couldn't find long rods. That's what me and my dad were talking about the other day.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my rods that I had before I replaced all my stuff was like 6'9" or 6'8", whatever. They just didn't make long stuff back then, 20, 25 years ago. So
I think my sweet spot is probably a 7 foot, 7'2", somewhere between those two. It's perfect. I have no idea how those guys go out there with like the 10-foot rods and do anything with those. That's scary.
That's on a boat though. So you're fishing like an 8-9 foot rod on a boat. We throw swim baits with 8-foot rods, and it seems like nothing after you do it for a while. You get used to it. Bank fishing though, you're just looking for a bird nest hang up in a tree. You're decorating trees for free. Matt Harvey said, Michigan fan here in Iowa, but at least we all love fishing. Yes, Matt. Unfortunately, you love a horrible team, but I still love you. Real Fishing says, I bet Debo walked up and took Dizzle's fishing spot. It's the other way around. He's the bully. He threatens to push me in all the time.
I won't even go into past stories, so we'll just leave it as that, I guess.
Let's see. Another live. Yes, Joe. We're doing it live. Friday night. I know. So there's a bunch of people live going live tonight. I know I saw Milliken and Ike. That's pretty cool. Busting out the craziness. Rudd, I think Alex Rudd was going live tonight. I think somebody said that when I was going through, but I'll try to give those times too. They've got great channels. Go check out those guys. They know far more than me. Let's see. Which one of you two would win in a kickboxing match? Randall.
Deebo.
Randall, who do you think would win?
It's you.
Bologna. You'd push me over and kick dirt in my face like the bully you are.
I mean, you have, and I'll go on record saying you've actually knocked me out and caught me before I fell onto the ground before. So,
yeah, we used to get in some pretty scrappy things. MMA and boxing is a funny thing because you'll literally beat each other until you have bloody noses, and then afterwards you'll give each other a hug. Like, it's a weird sport unless you've been into it. Like, you don't understand it. But yeah, we got in some pretty heated matches.
It's crazy. I don't even know how to describe it.
Let's see. Ethan Rose Outdoors said, can you guys do a video on Alabama rigs, especially that Yumbrella Flash Jr.? I need some info. Ethan, that's actually the only, I've got 2 of those. That's the only Alabama rig or A rig that I own. I've thrown it. I haven't caught stuff on it. I apologize. I am not your guy for A rig stuff. Look up my guy Bass Geek. He does a bunch of A rig fishing, and he will help you out far more than I could. So give him a check.
We're limited here too, right? In Iowa?
Go ahead. Yeah. Good point.
I was thinking, what, two hooks?
Yep. Yeah, so A-rigs are something like you can't throw them in tournaments and stuff. Each state has their own regulations, so make sure you check that before you throw that in your state. Here in Iowa, we can only have 2 hooks. Some places don't have a limit, so you can have 5 or 6, whatever's on it. But check that first. You don't want the DNR rolling up and throwing you in handcuffs. What else? What's the flavor of choice in the drink, Huggy? It's a barley pop. I'll leave it at that. What's happening to me right now? Those frozen guides. How do you fix that? Nothing really. If you look at like the ice fishing stuff or some of the musky rods, some of them will have just stainless steel guides. It helps with that. Otherwise, I mean, if you have the small guides, you got to deal with it. You got to break the ice off.
I've actually heard of people taking like a pan or like a like the spray cooking.
Oh yeah, Pam.
Grease,
like
butter stuff. Yeah, stuff like that, and you can spray it on your guides. The only bad thing with that is you're going to get the scent. You're going to get the
what if it was garlic oil? It would just make it garlic scent.
I mean, if you have a garlic oil Pam type of grease, give it a whirl. But otherwise, you're just going to have to reach up to the tip, and it usually is only the last, maybe the second from the tip that get iced up, but you just reach up there and kind of knock it off. The other important thing is you got to check your line too. Sometimes it'll freeze on the line around the tip where it was, so you want to make sure and double check that so you don't get any of that ice to come back through.
David says, oh my god, are you kidding? Drinking a soda on air. Yes, David, it's a soda. What else? Was it on a jig? Jerry Dilly, I'm assuming that's to you. Yes, if Randall caught something, it was on a jig, I guarantee you.
Wow. That you know what?
That's a confidence. Were you looking at me like this, like we were looking at each other on the live?
Yeah. I'm gonna say maybe never mind. I'm not even gonna say it. I was gonna say maybe 2021. I'm gonna go everything except for a jig.
Bull crap! And I won't throw a frog. Dizzle, do people do the Randy thing from Family Guy to you? Yes, I do. Randy.
What's that morning? There's a morning talk show. Bob and Tom. People do I don't know what the Bob and Tom thing. I listen to either like podcasts, music on my phone. Really, those two things. But apparently, Bob and Tom have a thing where there's somebody, I don't know. People do that a lot to me, and I'm just like, oh, I get it. Yeah, I don't get it.
I don't know what that means. All right, let's get into some questions. Did you have any good questions you saw?
I've been seeing...
Luis Garcia asked, different retrieval methods for different baits. I've been having issues catching fish, and I believe it's due to me not knowing enough about the technique in fishing. Yeah, that's hard. It's going to depend on the technique, the lure that you have. Some of them are just going to be a steady retrieve. The biggest thing I can say is if you're using like a reaction lure that you're casting and retrieving, try to do something that's going to draw that reaction strike. So if you're around stuff, bump into wood, bump into rocks. If you're not around things, do rod pops. So like if I'm fishing a swim jig and I'm just kind of coming around grass, I'll pop it and it makes that skirt flare. Same thing with like a spinnerbait, crankbait.
I was actually going to say, don't handcuff yourself to that though. Just, there's times where I can't catch anything, regardless of what I do. I'm just like, I don't know what to do with my hands, Ricky Bobby type of thing. But yep. We can go back to that video, Debo, when we were fishing. I don't remember when it was, and I was doing the yo-yo with the jig.
Yep.
And I was fishing a jig, and I was basically yo-yoing it like you would with like a lipless crankbait, ripping it through the weeds and things like that. But it's something nobody ever does. I was somewhat treating it like a swim bait, I guess you could say. Just try anything. If something doesn't seem to be working with, say a spinner bait, a constant retrieve, do a retrieve and pause it. Maybe wait for 5-6 seconds, that extreme.
Secondary action.
Just try anything. There's no right or wrong answer to that type of question. It's do what the fish want, and nobody knows really what the fish want until you figure it out, I guess.
Listen to them. Yep. Here's a good one. Favorite lure during winter. So for us going into kind of that fall-winter transition, we hit winter here obviously early than some places. The guys in South still have a lot of decently warm weather, but for me it was always a Ned rig. Just going down to something small. You have to remember as that water gets colder, really cold down past the 40s, fish are going to go to warmer water. Rocks are going to hold warmth. Metal dock pilings after those warm up in the sun. So for me, throwing like a weedless Ned rig was always my deal. But after getting outfished by this guy, a number of times, his favorite, I know what he's going to say, it's actually become one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's got to be the jig. The jig has always been my go-to. It doesn't matter. Honestly, it doesn't matter
Not
what
a
time of
regular
year
jig,
it
not
is.
a big mop jig.
No, yeah, total finesse jig. More specifically, War Eagle. I don't know. I'm probably not listening, but War Eagle, I love your jigs. Like, it doesn't matter what time of the year it is. I, for some reason, just have that confidence. I can cast it like I need to. I can pitch it like I need to. Granted, they break off a lot, but it just works for me. I don't know what it is. If something's slow and nothing else is working, I'll throw on a jig and I'll pick one or two up regardless. I mean, it just works. I don't know.
That's just like anything. You have to go where the fish are going to be. And if you're fishing in big rock, when Randy and I are throwing the finesse jig, a lot of times it's going to be in that big chunk rock. And regardless of what you're throwing, you're going to get snagged. Try to go with as light as you can get away with. He likes to throw a 3/8. I like to throw a 5/16, and I think I've kind of got him turned on to that a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
And even dropping down to a 1/4 ounce if you have a combo that can get away with it. But as light as you can go around that big chunk rock, and you won't get snagged. But if you do and you break off, get more. I mean, you've got to go there to get them in, in that colder water. Obviously you can go offshore, but we're talking from, more of a bank angling point of view.
Right. I've always had that conversation with people where honestly, I have a lure in my saving place where I don't throw these lures. It's one that I don't ever want to throw. I mean, it came in one of those boxes, but it just happened to be, came in one of the boxes. I didn't go out looking for it. But if it costs too much money or anything like that, and I don't want to throw it because of that, because I might lose it, then it's probably not worth buying,
Yeah, 100%. Jesse Smith said, happy about this live. I'm going to become a regular. Jesse, we're going to be doing more lives. Hopefully I can get Randy Dizzle on here a lot more. We're going to try to keep doing them. It's not going to replace the regular videos. And I had somebody else ask, I didn't see where that went, but does Randy Dizzle have a YouTube channel? Randy Dizzle, are you going to have a YouTube channel sometime soon, maybe?
Yes, I'll just say yes.
Yes.
It's not going to be anywhere near the quality as far as the editing capabilities of Debo.
You will too. I use simple editing. I'm bad with technology.
But you're a natural. You pick things up. I'll try it.
Gosh.
I'll give it a shot. Hopefully, it's not terrible enough where people don't, where people hate you because of me.
So you started your YouTube channel and I lost about 1,000 subscribers. That won't happen. Sup,
No,
Deebo?
I know it's just doing it.
Let's see, what else do we have? I saw Bob Davis is on. Bob's a good guy. Bob, thank you for watching, sir. I saw another question I wanted to go back to. If you have one, go ahead.
I was just going to say plasma tailworms. I'm not familiar with that. Again, Debo's like a smart guy, and I just throw jigs.
It's a biospawn plasma tail. They're like a Zoom finesse worm. That was in my latest video. I was giving some of those away. They make like I want to say 4-inch, whatever the smaller one is, then a larger one, like a 6-inch or whatever.
Sure.
Biospawn plasma tail. Good on drop shot or shaky head?
I don't even want to touch Nathan's question about reel speed. I think we differ big time.
Yeah, that's a good subject. So Bottom Line Bassin said, the channel is called DEBO'S Fishing, but it's really all about Randy Dizzle. 100%. I just sent Randy Dizzle a text the other day. Somebody sent me a text that said something along the lines of being a kid and thinking Deebo's the main character, but growing up and being adult and realizing that Randy Dizzle's actually the main character. Randy Dizzle, you make a lot of the
Jeez. You guys are ridiculous.
What was your reel speed question?
God, I don't miss it. I missed it, and I can't scroll back up. It was something to the effect of the preferred one to use, and then it touched on a lot more of, I guess I'll say the Debo speeds, the higher speeds. When, I look back at my go-to reel, which is that Revo Toro winch, or actually it's the Revo winch, not the Toro. And I want to say that that's like a 4.3, 4.6, something like that. It's a real slow type of reel. And that's just something that I really enjoy. And then Debo comes along and he's like, "Hey, check out this 8-1 to 1." And I'm just like, "Holy cow, I don't even know what I'm doing with this thing,"
I
you
don't know
know?
that I use it 8-1 to 1.
Um,
I do have some.
okay, there's yeah, 6'4", 7'4", 9'4", 9'4". Holy cow.
Yeah,
I'd
you're
have to
burning.
throw that.
I've used some 9 speeds, and I was a little displeased after I used it for a while. I thought I liked it, but one thing people talk about, like my guy's looking for fish. I don't know if Zach or Andrew are on, but they just did a podcast. If you haven't subscribed to their podcast, go subscribe. They're good dudes, just talking regular fishing stuff like me and Randy Dizzle. But Andrew was talking about Gerald Swindle's video, and I remember watching that a long time ago. I don't think he owns anything over like a 6.5, period. He's kind of in that thought process of he wants power, torque power. So with a lower speed reel, you're going to have more torque. It's not as big of a main gear that you're trying to turn. So you have to remember reel speed is when they talk about 5 to 1 or 10 to 1, 5 to 1 means for every one spin of the handle, that little main gear in there is having to go around, 10 times, or if it's a 5 speed, 5 times, whatever. So the more that gear has to go around and do work, the less power you're going to have, kind of like a winch. So he's all in thought process. If I don't go over a 6, whatever to 1, if you need more than that, it's bad form, or it's, not paying attention, like on a jig or Texas rig. If you're not paying attention when you're in that stuff, that's your own problem. That's poor fishing. That's kind of where he
Right.
comes from. Whereas I think like a 7.2 or 7.5 is my all-around favorite reel. A lot of it just depends on how fast you reel and what you're comfortable with. There's not a right way to do it.
I think the real weird or the real strange thing between our different styles of fishing is like, and then throw in personality in there, I guess. And I'm not trying to say you're like a scatterbrained or anything like that, or I
Sometimes.
am, vice versa. But I feel like you're constantly hit a spot, hit a spot, hit a spot, hit a spot, hit a spot.
Oh, for sure.
And for me, I'm like, oh, that was the bite. I'm gonna stay in this spot. And I'm gonna stay in the spot, I'm gonna stay in it, and I'm gonna stay in it. And that's probably one of the downfalls why potentially I don't catch as many fish as what you do,
But that's a good.
is that I get stuck in that spot because I got something, I had a bite, I'm gonna stick here and I'm gonna stay here and I'm gonna try to catch that fish.
Totally mentality, yeah, and it's kind of a twofold, double-edged sword. I am more of as many presentations as you can make with that bait, the better chance you have. If you only cast twice, you've only got 2 shots at catching a fish. But if I go out and cast 100 times compared to your 2, I've got a way better percentage, right? But that's nice when both of us get together and fish. Is I remember when you caught that spawned out bass. It had like the head of a 5 pounder, and it was like
Hmm.
3.8. He was there working it. He's like, I swear there should be a fish on this log, and it took you probably 10 casts, 15 casts before he finally caught it. I threw it at once
Yeah.
and moved on, and he ended up catching it. So it depends on the spot. If you think it's fishy, fish it. I think that came from you, right? You said that.
Yeah,
Yo
yeah, it
Dizzle,
was that
some
it
Yoda
was the
knowledge.
what was it, that spillway?
Yep,
Look fishy,
fish it.
fishy. It's kind of like seawood, cast wood, catch fish off wood.
Fine wood, pitch to wood. Let's see. Country Boy Creek Fishing said, "What's the best way to fish a fluke?" Man, flukes are something that I don't throw enough. I threw them a lot more this year, but really, I fish it just like I would a stick bait or a hard jerk bait, and I'm gonna pop, 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 and then let it fall. And it's really that erratic action when you pop that soft plastic. It's gonna go, and then just kind of, well, it doesn't flutter down, but it kind of does like a nosedive, almost in a circle. But it's really that pop pop and then letting it pause, and then if the fish are more active, you're going to speed those pops up. If they're less active, you're going to leave a little bit more time in between.
And that's where fishing gets really, really funny right there, is because we just talked about you being a little bit more scatterbrained than what I was, or vice versa. I don't necessarily have the patience to fish something weightless like that. Like I don't, just something about it. I can't just throw something that's weightless. And the majority of the time when I throw something weightless like that, I try to find the biggest, heaviest hook I can and just give it a little bit more like sinking ability to try to work it a little bit more. I don't know what it is. It's just, I guess in my head I can't do it like you can when it comes to those weightless type of lures and things like that.
Yeah, I'm the same way, honestly. Like, I hate doing that. I hate throwing stuff out and just letting it soak. I think a lot of people are like that, but once you get a bite on that, like it gets to be fun. Like you fish a wacky rig, you fish a weighted wacky rig.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sure, I've
and
done
it's the
that.
same thing. You kind of get into it, and it's once you get some bites on it and get some, some confidence in it. But I think a lot of times it's just you can't catch anything. You're finally going over to the stick bait or whatever, and you're still trying that. And you're fishing slow. You can't catch anything, and it gets kind of like, oh, what am I going to do? I can't catch anything. But once you get some bites, then it starts to get fun. Joe DeSando said, do you watch any of the Bassmaster Elites? Do you have a favorite angler out there? I do watch the Elites. I watch MLF. I'm honestly a fan of MLF. I just like the fact that, they're not pre-fishing. They're going out to a place and catching fish. But absolutely, I watched the Elites for a long time. My favorite angler, pro angler out there? Gosh, that's so hard. There's so many. Like I've said before, it would have to be somebody that's fun, that I could learn from. Like a lot of the guys out there are pretty straight-laced. I don't know. I get kind of crazy off camera. So it'd have to be somebody fun. I don't know. Like, I always think of G-Man. I think G-Man would be fun, but he'd probably be like,
oh, yeah.
Debo, you suck at fishing and just kick me in.
Yeah. I kind of feel the exact same way. Part of me really says, G-Man, just because, like, more of his personality outside of fishing, I kind of feel like, him and I would meld well. But the fishing itself, I'm gonna have to, this might offend some people, but I like Ike's kind of my guy. I don't read a whole lot of books. I actually have Ike's book. I couldn't tell you what the name of it is, but I have it. I've read it. I really like his way of I should say the never give up kind of idea and concept. And Debo, that kind of goes back to, when we first started hanging out, that, concept that you always said, the hour to fish kind of thing, and just get out and fish theory. I really like that. So I'm going to say, kind of similar, a G-Man and Ike, I guess.
I agree.
Oh, I saw an Ish. Ish, I wish I could fish half as good as Ish with a frog.
Oh, yeah. Anybody who can throw a frog, Ish. Gosh, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't know. Yes, I like watching the pros. It's fun. And I know a lot of people get down on the pros like, oh, they've got a $100,000 boat and 75 rods. But you can watch. I used to do Let's Talk MLF. Maybe I'll have to bring that back. But a lot of people couldn't watch it. But now that they do the MLF Bass, I forget what it is, Bass series or whatever, that's free on the internet. Like, I watched that earlier this year. Anybody can watch it. So maybe I'll have to do some after that. But the thing is, you can take what they're doing and kind of dial it into bank fishing or change it to fit your scenario, Obviously, you can't do, if they're fishing deep structure, a deep hump or a deep drop-off or stuff. But when they talk about, like, working a topwater bait, when they see schooling fish, we see schooling fish up shallow a lot. How they're walking it, the pause. Great example is Jacob Wheeler. I remember a long time ago, that's been 4 years ago maybe, Jacob Wheeler was mimicking shad with a frog that he completely cut the legs off of, a white frog. And he was throwing it around like buckbrush and stuff. If you try to throw like a spook up in that, kiss it goodbye. You're going to get stuck like nothing other. Throwing that little frog like that by isolated pieces of brush he was targeting, absolutely key. Switched his day. He ended up winning the end of it, and that's what he finished on. That was something I learned from that. I learned from Wheeler watching MLF. Otherwise, I honestly never would have thought of completely cutting the legs off. I usually trim them short, a couple inches, but he cut it completely off and was just walking it, a little bit longer frog, and walked it. So just because they're in boats and stuff doesn't mean you should completely give up on those guys. They're fun to watch.
Yeah, no, speaking of the boat thing and stuff like that, that day that we went out onto the, God, I don't remember what that reservoir was where you took your dad's boat out.
Oh, yeah.
That day was crazy. We were fishing. We literally were trying everything, and nothing was biting. And then some point in time throughout the day, we realized, as we looked around across the water, we would see fish come up in school, and, we were throwing walking baits out there, and they were just smashing them. It was almost, I would say, 85% chance that if you casted it out there, you were going to catch a fish right around that schooling pod.
Yeah. And it was bright, sunny skies, pretty much no clouds. And it was just, they were just destroying the topwaters.
Ridiculously hot. I'm sitting in the back of the boat, and Debo's like sitting up front, and I think I took a towel off or something, and I had it wrapped around my head, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. But blazing hot sun, we were still catching them.
It was 4th of July weekend, and we destroyed them on Topwater.
It was, yeah.
Let's see, who else do we have? Stubbs wanted to join us. He is such a good dude. I know a lot of people love Stubbs. He's an amazing dog. My rescue pit dog. Let's see, are we going to go ice fishing? Matt Harvey, dinks on the ice with Dizzle? Yes, we are going to be ice fishing soon. I can't wait. We're just kind of in that middle spot where it's not yet froze, but we are going to hook up on some...
It's... the fun thing, if any of you guys live around ice, something that you can do, you know how you can skip a rock on top of water? When you get like a really thin layer of ice, you can take like a rock or anything like that and virtually skip it across the ice, and it makes Star Wars blaster sounds. I swear to God, you can look it up on YouTube. The sound it makes with the reverberation between the water and the ice is crazy.
Let's see. Dew Mellon said, I'm looking at a good all-around setup. My dream setup is a Shimano Corrado DC and a favorite USA Big Sexy. I mean, a good all-around setup, I think we kind of touched on the rod. For real, it's just going to depend on what you like. I've got the SLX DC review I need to do. I've had a bunch of people ask for that. Is a DC reel needed as a beginner? If you can already use a bait caster, I say no. I think it does make it a little bit easier, but you're looking at something that's a little heavier. It's still not backlash proof, so I mean, I don't think it's completely needed. There's a bunch of reels around $100 that... Go ahead.
Wait, I'm sorry. You were talking about the transformer reel that you have, right? The robot reel?
Yeah.
And every time you cast it, well, not every time, but every time you take it out and we fish together, maybe 1 in every 10 is a backlash?
I'll talk
just
about
happens.
That. Yeah, it's like this random where it doesn't work, and it'll just like kind of backlash on you. So I don't know.
Yep.
It's not 100% backlash proof. Jerry Dilly said, what size hook do you use on your 5-inch stick worms? I prefer a 4-aught EWG. I think they were made for a 3-aught EWG is what Gary Yamamoto made his for.
Yeah, I would probably go similar. 3, 4. More than likely, I'll probably go 3 because at one point in time I bought an absurd amount of 3, and that's just what I have in my gear.
I saw Dylan Sears. Dylan, he was actually a guy here in Iowa. I think he still lives here in Iowa, but he asked if I was going to be fishing any tournaments and said Denali rods are really good. I have not used a Denali rod. I've looked at them. Indian Creek Outfitters or Indian Creek Framing. Kyle's framing here in Cedar Rapids, actually Marion. Hiawatha, wherever he's at. But he carries a bunch of Denali stuff. I haven't used any, but Dylan, I would like to do some tournament fishing. I don't have a sweet boat. Maybe next year will be the year that I get a big John boat and turn it into a bass boat, and Dizzle and I can try to do some. I'm not hardcore tournament. It would just be for fun to get into the tournament scene, like the actual pros and stuff. It's nothing I would want to get into. I think it would take the fun out of fishing.
I mean, I'll kind of piggyback on that. Unlike Debo, I've actually, again, going back to me and old Johnny, we've fished a lot of tournaments. This is like waking up at 2 a.m., loading up the boat, and driving a couple hours to go hit a tournament. And you know, we've done decent, we've done okay. Nothing to really write home about, but it's a totally different mindset. And honestly, I would rather just go out and fish. And realistically, if I'm gonna fish in a tournament, I want it to be more or less like a $10 get in or something like that. But $50 a person per boat, that's like getting up there where I don't just want to throw $50 away. I want to be able to try to, do something with that. And it really takes the fun out of fishing for me, at least.
Yeah, I agree. Sean Schutz, looking into portable fish finders that fit in your hand. Are there any decent companies that make them? So I think he means like the deeper sonar or that. I forget what the other one is.
I keep telling you to get one of those or a couple of the. I actually saw that they came out with a new one. I think it's called the deeper sonar or something like that. It's not a ball anymore. It's more like a triangle pyramid type of shape. I was actually going to send that to you the other night, but I forgot about it.
See, I had one here.
Debo, I keep seeing a lot about you and drop shot. I'm just gonna let you answer that.
Yeah, drop shot.
I don't do it.
It's a love-hate relationship with drop shot. Catches fish. It's a great way to catch numbers. I just hate when I break off. You've got to take like 50 minutes to retie. Got to get the Palomar knot right on the hook, and then make sure your leader's right. I just hate breaking off. It's not like breaking off a jig. I just go tie in a new jig and go back into it. No denying they work. They definitely work. I just hate getting into it. We need to give away the sweatshirt. Who should we give the sweatshirt away to? Do we have any Hawk fans out there? Who's a Hawk fan? I put Randy Dizzle on the spot and made him pick last time. We got to give this away. We're already at 55 minutes on the live, Randy. I thought we were at like 30 minutes. I couldn't believe it.
Holy cow. I can't scroll back through to look and see.
So it's a large. Before we get off here, who needs a large Iowa sweatshirt who's a Hawk fan? Let's give it away. We'll have to pick a random. I didn't see anybody saying they needed one.
Scott, what's the new Lowrance Bank Angler fish finder? What's that all about? Do you know? Do you have too much of it? Martin, go Hawks. I agree. Yes. Ken, also.
Jared Maynard, Dylan Sears, Casual. Who wears a large? First person to say they wear a large. I wear a large. I want it. Gets it. I don't know how other to do it. Yes, large. Ken Appleby. Boom. He's the first one that showed up on my feed. Ken Appleby is it. All right. Well, Ken, you just want it. Hit me up on Instagram and send me your stuff. I'll get this over to you. If we get any more questions, I noticed we went down a little bit in viewers. We're almost at an hour. I didn't want to go up over an hour. So if we have any other questions, I did get a couple from Instagram. Gosh, I forgot all about that. Let's see. Instagram questions that I got. We'll answer a couple before we go live. Like I said, I think there's some other people going live, so people are probably going to be jumping over and watching them. Alex Rudd's going to be going live. I think he might have went live at 8, so we probably got a bunch of people going over there. He's got a great channel. If you haven't checked it out, go check out Alex's live. I think he's up live now. But let's see. What do we have on mine? Let's see. Let's see. Okay, Struggle Bus asked me, any plans to travel and fish in your channel? I wish I could. I've got a full-time job and 2 kiddos, so right now it's not in there. I hope to soon. We know stuff might change, but let's see. Philip.
I'm just going to say real quick to that, Deebo, anytime you're ready, let's go. We'll pack it up and
let's do it.
Head out.
Let's see. Philip asked, how to determine when to switch colors, what do you ask, while using the same type of rig? You know, that's honestly something I'm kind of bad with too, because I get in the thing of, okay, I'm throwing a swim jig. If they're not hitting the swim jig, I'm going to switch over to a spinner or a chatterbait. And sometimes it truly can be the difference between colors. I've had multiple times where I have switched colors and it's made all the difference. So I would just say listen to the fish. If you've usually fished something in a spot that looks really fishy for 15, 20 minutes and have not gotten a bite, in my opinion, it's time to switch up, whether it's color or bait. Switch it up. If you're not catching, what's the worst you can do? Switch up and not catch?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big things I like about a jig is I can really change the overall profile of the bait by just switching the trailer. I don't even necessarily have to switch the jig itself. And again, I'm not a snob when it comes to it's a green pumpkin. I got to throw a green pumpkin trailer with it. I'll mix and match and throw a black and blue with a green pumpkin or vice versa. It's a great thing to do.
Let's see. Finn the Fisherman, my guy Finn, he always supports me. We chat back and forth. Ned rig versus finesse jig. This is actually something funny that Randy and I have gotten into. It depends on the situation. There's been times where I've outfished him with the Ned rig. Earlier this year, he absolutely kicked my butt with a finesse jig. It was like 20 to a couple. He caught like 20-some that day. And I was struggling. I ended up having to switch, and I still couldn't get my act together. But it depends. I mean, I think a lot of times they're pretty similar. To me, a Ned rig is a little bit more finesse than a finesse jig, as funny as that sounds. But
oh, yeah, 100%.
Just switch and try. Let's see. I had a couple people, actually, and I saw a couple people on the stream ask about that Abu Garcia Roxani. Yes, I am going to review that soon. That's coming. I've got a ton of reviews and stuff to catch up on this winter, so bear with me. Ren Hogg asked, old favorite lure companies, or just your favorite lures. Old favorite lures would have to be Mans. I was all about Mans when I was younger. Now, I mean, there's so many. I love the Reaction Innovation stuff. There's a ton of them out there. You know, Booyah Frogs, old ones. Strike King. Like Randy said, War Eagle. There's a ton. I don't know.
Yeah, I think my I'm trying to think. It's escaping my mind right now. The inline spinners.
MEPS.
Is it MEPS? Yeah,
Rooster
the
tail?
MEPS. Yeah, rooster. Oh my gosh, the rooster tails going up to Okoboji, throwing a chartreuse rooster tail, pike killer. I shouldn't have said that to you. Now you probably want to go.
Yeah, I love catching old slimy, grimy pike.
Slimy snakes.
Let's see. Have you used the Sixth Sense rods? If so, what's your opinion on them? I've only got the MFer series. I did order one of those. Is it the ESP, I think, is the new one? I haven't got my Black Friday order from Sixth Sense yet. Otherwise, you all would have seen that. Hopefully that comes soon. So, let's see. Soft plastic brand and favorite shaky head. In the past, the Grande Bass Airtail has been my bar none favorite shaky head, like finesse worm. Otherwise, like a trick worm is great. Shaky head, like the actual jig, really just depends on what you like. I personally like the ones with like a screw-in deal, like the owner ones, but I've used like the Sixth Sense. They have a screw-in deal.
What's the reaction? The reaction worm, I guess. The I don't even know what you call it. You got me a couple packs earlier this year. It's the kind of like the ribbon ones. Oh, geez, I'm drawing a blank again.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah.
About it. Spinnerbait or chatterbait, Trevor Norris said. That's always the question, isn't it? For me, spinnerbait has been like a long time absolute confidence lure of mine. But it depends. If I'm around standing wood or big wood, not necessarily brush, but logs and such, to me the spinnerbait stands out as the champion. Around grass and such, I think the chatterbait's the champion because it'll usually kind of help cut through that grass and you can pull it through, whereas a spinnerbait kind of gets stuck. So, Randy?
Yeah, it's really weird. People have talked about it earlier about old school lures that work and things like that. There was a time where I was like a diehard chatterbait guy, and then something else new and fancy came out, and I was like, chatterbaits, I'm not using those anymore. Why would I ever do that? And I switched to it, and I keep going back to the chatterbait. I kind of like the chatterbait a little bit. No, never mind. I'm going spinnerbait.
Or underspin. Underspin's been your deal this year.
Oh my God! That was a question somebody asked earlier. If we threw underspins, and since it dropped down in temperature, like besides the jig, obviously, underspin has been my go. Just with a swim bait trailer on the back of it, it's been dynamite.
All right. Well, I think we're at time. Randy, we're at an hour. Do you have anything you want to close out with? Gave the sweatshirt away. We talked some feeshin. Do you guys want to see more of these? Hit me up. I've got a video coming out tomorrow with my 2 Halo rods unboxing, going through all that. Randy and I want to get on and do some more lives. So if you guys have like a giveaway you want to see, we were just talking about that the giveaways are kind of fun. It's a good way to interact with you all, go through questions. So if there's specific things you want to see on the live shows, let us know. I know some people said they don't really like the lives because it's just like saying hi to people, but to me it's just a way to get on and have fun, have a cream soda, and talk to you all. So, Randy, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. The other thing I kind of wanted to bring up, hey, if you guys have questions, like, I'm not nearly the fisherman that Debo is. If you got jig questions, reach out to me, Instagram or whatever, feel free. I'm really honestly trying to get things all together and, get a channel up and running. Again, I don't think it's going to be nearly as good as what DEBO'S are, unless I have him edit them for me. So
You'll figure it out in no
either
time.
way, either way, I totally appreciate everybody, the questions, the comments, all of that stuff. It's awesome to even think that, anything like this is even possible. Like, I look at Debo and I'm like, we're buddies. We go back, and I look at myself and I'm like, who are we to, be giving tips and ideas to people?
That's why we're fun to watch. We're like a couple guys down the block that you go fishing with. That's really just us.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Well, I think it's time to sign out. Thank you all so much for